This is Cynthia A. Johnson, State Representative for House District 5. I am an official write-in candidate for the new House District 1 in the state of Michigan. Join us as we discuss why I happen to be a write-in candidate as opposed to being on the ballot. You'll learn a whole lot. Please join us. Again, this is Cynthia A. Johnson for House District 1 write-in candidate. Join us, please.
Hi, family. We are our special guest here with us today. Yeah, y'all give us a minute. You know how it is with us trying to get ourselves hooked up. We have to hook up with the young lady on YouTube first so that we can go ahead and put this out on all the rest of it. But meanwhile, we just gonna go ahead and start talking. That's what we're gonna do. So guess what we have? We have Miss Cynthia A. Johnson.
That's right. That's right.
How you doing today?
I am so well. It's good to be with you.
And it's good to be with you too.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about today. What got my attention? I see it live and living color. Oh, wait a minute. We are good on YouTube. Y'all see that beautiful picture of her behind me? That is Cynthia A. Johnson.
Currently the state representative of House District 5, but because of redistricting, if I were to get re-elected for my third term, it would be House District 1.
Oh.
Problem though is that I don't know if everybody knows, everybody should know by now that I was systematically kicked off of the ballot. And the reason that I was kicked off the ballot, according to the director of Bureau of Elections, Mr. Brater, R-A-T-E-R, was because of fees. And I will tell you unequivocally that, in my view, and I mean this, that was absolutely incorrect. Did owe fees, but I paid those fees. See, let me back up and go back to 2020. So I'll start my sharing with all that December 2020 forever changed my life. In 2020, I was reelected to my second term, which I am serving right now. And this term will be over in January 2023. The terms for state legislators are every 2 years. So I was elected in November 2020, but then December 2nd, 2020 came. That was the day, December 2nd, don't forget that date. December 2nd, 2020, the Republicans prior to that had invited Rudy Giuliani to come to speak or to testify in front of the Oversight Committee, of which I was the minority vice chair. The only Black woman, the only Black person on that committee at the time. There was another woman, but she was ill and she was not in. So on that date, I was the only woman and the only Black person on the committee. So in walks Rudy Giuliani, and he brings in his clowns of buffoons with him. And I listened to them, obviously what I knew to be lies, and I questioned our chair at the time. His name is Matt Hall. who kept gaveling me even after I asked Mr. Rudy Giuliani if he and the president, then Donald Trump, were honest men. I get gavelled on that. When I say gavelled, I mean the hammer, bang, bang, bang. Shut up. We don't want to hear from you. Shut up. We don't want to hear from you. We only want you there in that position to show that we are equal opportunity, and we have your brown face there, so we must be doing something all right. But we don't want you to talk. That's me talking right now. But that's the message that they continually give to women, especially Black women and people of color. And also, did I say women? Yeah, women too. So now that I've questioned Rudy Giuliani and told the president of the United States at that time, 45, I hate to even mention his name, he's so disgusting. As Rudy was in the committee testifying, he kept, talking down on Detroit and pretty much dissing our community and my people, and I just wasn't having it. And I said so in the committee, and so from there, I mean, this committee went on for maybe 3-4 hours, something like that. While I'm on this committee, I receive a nasty text, email to my office. But I have my computer right there, so whatever is sent to me, I could see. And so I get up, if you guys look at that video, I get up and I took my computer over to Matt Hall, who's the chair, who in his view, it really didn't matter because he didn't stop the nonsense that was happening in that room. Anyway, I began to get a lot of emails and even phone calls to my home, to my cell phone. And that went on until about the 9th of December. And I said, the hell with this. I am sick of this. So I went on Facebook. I'm one of the Facebook queens. So I went on Facebook and began talking to actually my community and telling them, and they had already seen and heard the voicemail messages that I received, and I shared those online long before I even went on Facebook to say, hey, you know what, soldiers, we are under attack. Now, when I said soldiers, these people, when I say these people, I'm talking about the Trumpsters. They went on a mad tangent, but they didn't do that because they just wanted to or because of the video that I had done on December 9th. Had they been just listened to that video, they would have understood, but they didn't care. Anyway, the 3-minute video that I did, someone from Honduras, or I don't know how it happened, but they took that 3 minutes, took the last 30 seconds and spent it as though I was making an attack against the Trumpsters, and that just wasn't true. I got all kinds of hangings. We're gonna kill you. Look behind your back. We have sharpshooters. I mean, all kinds of stuff like this. Now, I have to say, after I had done that video, I wake up the next morning to a phone call from the then leader Chris. I'll just say that, Leader Chris. And she called my home and actually she woke me up. She called me and she was like in a panic. And I had no idea what the heck she was talking about. And she told me about this video and I'm thinking, What are you talking about? Okay, I did a video last night. It was no big deal. But when I found out, when I looked and found out, it went viral. What they did, it was so much gaslighting. It was just unbelievable. And so, did my caucus, the Democratic caucus or the Republican caucus? And when I say caucus, the Republican Democrat caucus, I'm talking about the House right now. Did they speak to me? Did they ask me, what did you mean by this? No, I was immediately guilty before found innocent. Now, see, white people too often, especially with the group of people who I work with, they are found innocent before found guilty. And it was just, it has been a horrific, terrible experience, but God does not put more on us than we can handle. But I do ask God sometimes, God, why ask for it? Who would ask for something like this? But I'll tell you this, as much as they've tried to shut me down and tried to shut me up, I'm not shutting up. Even during that time in December 2020, after the video that I did and the video that they put out there, now, okay, so I just get elected. So what the leadership is supposed to do is to make sure everybody, all the newly elected or re-elected individuals, they have to fill out this thing called an affidavit of compliance. Now, when you fill out this affidavit of compliance, and this has to be filled out before you take office, before you take the oath, brother. And it's like a receipt saying, okay, from this moment on, I've taken care of everything, any fees, any documents, they've all been taken care of. However, I didn't even realize that that document was provided to everybody on the floor, all the Democrats who did not have that document filed, and those who did not have their fees paid. They were supposed to fill out that document. It was supposed to be signed by the caucus attorney. And that was supposed to be going with, hand in hand with any monies that you owe as a legislator, because you don't want to take office or take the oath without being fully in compliance. So the only thing that I was told on the floor was that, Rep. Johnson, you owe $4,100 and something. I didn't even check that to even make sure. We need to even do an audit on that. Anyway, wrote a check out. I wrote a check out, gave the attorney the check. And at that point, I'm in compliance. Raised my hand in January, took the oath. However, I didn't find out until February 2022 that I never received that receipt.
Oh, wow.
You know what that receipt was? I used the affidavit of compliance, would have cleared up a whole lot of things. I didn't find out until February 2022 that in 21, after I paid that $4,000 and something, and I didn't get that receipt, didn't fill out that affidavit of compliance. Remember, I don't even know anything about the affidavit of compliance, but ignorance of the law is no excuse. I just got caught with my pants down, trusting and believing, not knowing, being green to all this, trusting and believing that my Democratic caucus would have my back. They wouldn't let me stand before a clerk, raise my hand, and take an oath, knowing that I didn't have that affidavit of compliance. Of course, they would never do anything like that. But that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And so now I can only talk to you about this because after the fact. So now let me go to February 22. Still not knowing Jack. I did get a letter though, indicating that I owed $825. And they said the $825 was for 2021. I hadn't checked it, but since we're at, here we are at a point where if I don't have these fees paid, I won't be in office. So hell, you just pay it and deal with asking the questions later. So I paid the $825. That was for 2021. That's what they claimed. So I paid that in February 2022. They received it a couple of days after I paid it. Now, okay, I'm good. So I filed for state rep for District 1. But then I get a phone call from our now attorney for the caucus in March. I'm still oblivious to just oblivious. I get a phone call from the caucus attorney, and she calls, and I'm irritated with her because I can't even believe that you're actually calling me to challenge me, to ask me if I paid everything. What do you think I am? This is what I'm thinking at the time when she called me. I've taken care of everything. Well, there's a document that has to be filed. She didn't tell me anything about that document. Should have been filed in December 2020. Are you following me?
I'm following you.
So by not filing that document in December 2020,
yes,
by not filing that document, the affidavit of compliance in December of 2020, there was that little hole left there. That little hole of, at that point, when you paid Cynthia A. Johnson, when you paid that fee, you should have also filed that document, which would have proved that everything up to that point was paid. But because I didn't have that document, they were able to go in 2021. I'll tell you how slick they are. They were able to go into 2021 and go back and say, oh, you still owe money in 2020. Now, when I received, I contacted the Bureau of Elections and said, oh, hell no, I do not owe anything for 2020. I go up. So anyway, I'm disputing this. They know I'm disputing this. So when I get the phone call from the new attorney for the caucus, and she tells me about this document, my purpose for going to the county clerk's office, Wayne County clerk's office, is to file this document. But when I got there, the clerk's assistant said, oh, you can't file this document without refiling an affidavit of identity. Because when you filed your affidavit of identity the first time you filed in February, Ms. Johnson, you were not in compliance. You weren't in compliance because when you filed in February 2022, you said that you had all your fees paid, and you had all your documents turned in. Well, this document that you have in your hand in April 2022 should have been filed back in December of 2020. And when you filed your filing in February, you should have known that you were supposed to file that. Again, remember, I didn't know. Didn't find out until March 2022, the end of March. And so I withdrew on April 5th, 2022, my filing for state rep. And at the same time, I filed the affidavit of compliance, thinking that's it. If I had anything else to take care of, I had the money. I could have taken care of it right then and there. So I filed the affidavit of compliance, the thing that I should have had back in December of 2020. And then I was able, to file. After filing that, I was then able to file the affidavit of identity. But we still weren't finished. I didn't know we weren't finished.
Wow.
Still weren't finished. I'm in Lansing on April 12th. And Representative Abraham Ayash, he walks up to me and he says, Rep, I heard that you still have some fees owed. I said, if I do, you pay them, because I paid everything that I'm supposed to have paid. That's what I told him. I mean, I'm really, in my mind, everything's taken care of. So after saying that and taking the time to think about what the hell I was saying, what the heck I was saying, sorry about that, I decided you better go over to the Secretary of State Bureau of Election and find out what they're talking about. So that's what I did. And this assistant gives me this sheet that shows I owe $875 for 2020. For 2020. Remember, if I had that affidavit of compliance file, they couldn't have done that. They left room. So she says, well, you owe $875. I said, wait a minute. How are you saying I owe $875? There was this one line item that was for $125 that I had paid on the 4th of April. But when I went to them on the 12th, and she said, you owe $875, I said, what are you talking about? Are you telling me you did not receive the $125? I know this might sound confusing. That's why I'm trying to take my time and share this. I said, are you telling me that you did not receive the $125? And I'm showing her my bill pay from my bank, credit union. And she said, yeah, I see it, but we don't have it. What do you mean you don't have it? I paid y'all $825 back in February 2022, just 2 months ago. And you received it immediately. And you're telling me the same way that I sent it then, you don't have it now? Anyway, I'm not even going to begin to tell y'all that on that outside of, even though that was an overnight mail, on the outside of that envelope, there were 2 addresses on that envelope.
Oh, what? Okay.
I only gave them, I never changed the address. Only one address should have been on there. They had the address for the Bureau of Election and my office address on there. How did that happen? I don't know how it happened, but it happened, and I'm asking for an investigation into that. So I come in on the 13th, the next day of April, because she told me even though I disputed what they told me that I owed for 2020, and I disputed the 125 because I'd already paid it. I said, you know what? Let me pay this and pay this now. So on April 13th, I came in there with a check for $875. Is everything taken care of? Yep. No problem with me being on the ballot. Nope. What they didn't give me, and I don't even know if they gave it to me or not, because I don't even know, but what they should have given me was another affidavit of identity.
This just seems like a lot of people, well, okay, I see.
So I bring up to you all at first about the Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump thing. And I mean, I've gotten thousands, and I'm not just talking about 5,000, I'm talking about well over 10,000 terrible messages and threats and blah, blah, blah. So I tell you all that because 2 days before I found out that I was disqualified, there was a truck in front of the Capitol that had my face on it and talked about me having a coup, and I am the reason that Donald Trump didn't win. This was 2 days before I get a message from the media asking me, is it true? Is what true? Is it true that you've been disqualified? And I said, not to my knowledge. I get off the phone from talking to the Detroit News, and I find out all I did is Google my name, and it's everywhere, all in the media. So at this point now, I'm trying to do everything I can. I'm trying to reach out to the county clerk, and I'm saying to her, don't let this happen. But you see, she only could do what was given to her by the state of Michigan, by the Bureau of Elections. Even though the Bureau of Elections gave this information claiming that I hadn't paid my fees and until April 2013. What? Really? What happened to December 2020? Anyway,
so can we now see? So I know their explanation is to let people know why you are not on the ballot.
I'm not on the ballot because they took me off the ballot.
But so the next thing is when people vote, the procedures for voting for someone that's not on the ballot is they're supposed to look for something on the ballot. Is that a proper thing to be able to tell everybody how to do that?
So let me make sure people don't write my name in unnecessarily and on ballots that I would not represent. The district that I will be representing is House District 1, which includes all of Southwest Detroit and River Rouge. It does include other areas in this area, but that's the majority is in Southwest Detroit and in River Rouge. So if you see two names, if you see one name, Tyrone Carter, if you see Tyrone Carter, by the way, he's my colleague, but if you see his name on the ballot, you know you got the right ballot. You can only vote for one person. You may like Tyrone, you may like the other person's who's also a Democrat. You may like that person. I'm asking you to please fill in that oval because there's going to be a blank space underneath in that for the House of Representatives, for the state representative. There's going to be a blank line there. Fill in the oval, then write my name in. Do not put a sticker on any of those ballots. because it will not count. My
Okay,
name
so,
being Cynthia A. Johnson.
so so in other words, I guess you're explaining your reputation so people won't be confused about what we saw, just those few pieces of what we saw. Now we know the whole situation of the confusion of why you are not on the ballot. And the other part is to tell us how you said, so Southwest Detroit, you said,
All of Southwest Detroit.
and then
all
also
River Rouge.
All River Rouge.
Yes.
And okay.
There are 5 precincts in River Rouge that I would be representing. That's precincts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay. So do you feel at this point that now we understand what happened, and this seems like a lot of confusion. If you had to go through that, that's very I can't try to keep up with it. It's something else.
I'll tell you this: if you get reelected and this is your first time, once you get elected, you're going to fill out this affidavit of compliance. And by the way, the first time when I got elected, of course, they give you all these papers and so forth. So you're filling out all these papers. And the affidavit of compliance was one of the papers that they had given me when I first got elected. And I just realized this now. After I got elected and the caucus brought us in, and of course we filled all our paperwork out, and I still didn't know that was what I had filled out and something that I should have filled out when I got reelected. I know now, and I hope others do too.
It was just a big learning experience of what happened.
This was a setup because Donald Trump and his minions promised me that I would not get in office I was promised that I would not be on that ballot in 2022. This was a setup. And I'll tell you, it was a setup by the Democratic leader. She was then, at that time, in December, she was the leader-elect, Donald Lazinski. But you can't tell me that in January, as a leader, you don't have a roster of everybody who's in compliance. And they watched me take an oath in January, knowing that I didn't have that affidavit of compliance. So these folks waited a whole 2 years to make sure they can shut up this woman's mouth, this Black woman's mouth.
But somehow you said you were able to go to court and be allowed to have a write-in.
No, that's not how that works. I went to court asking to be placed on the ballot. Okay. But based on what Jonathan Brader reported, remember, the judge and the county clerk, they can only go by what. So of course, if he's giving this information, it's got to be right? Wrong.
Okay.
But time to do now what we need to do, and that is to request an investigation, not only by the Attorney General, but by the U.S. Department of Justice, because there was some nasty stuff that went on. Not only the Democratic caucus leader, but the attorney who was also working for us at the time, the person who took that $4,000 check and took to the Secretary of State Bureau of Election. Not only those two, but Jonathan Brader.
Let me ask you a question then. So at this point, can you hear me? At this point, okay, so you will still hold the position that you have regardless of what's going on. You're trying to move into another position now?
No, I'm not trying to move into another position. I'm currently the state representative for House District 5.
Oh, okay.
And they can't do anything to that. They can't fire me from that, period. So if I was not to win, and I'm not going to put that into existence, but let's just say if I was not to win, my term would be up on January 1st, 2023. However, what I'm asking everybody to do, look at your ballots, because the ballots will be going out on the 19th, Juneteenth. That should be easy for everybody to remember. You can start early voting starting Juneteenth. And when you go in and you look at your ballot, if you receive a absentee ballot, and if you don't see Tyrone Carter's name there, or Jermaine Toby's name, those are two Democrats. They will be the only two Democrats on that ballot. If you see those names, then you know you have the right ballot. And having the right ballot, you can only vote for one person. Please, I'm asking you to take a little time and just fill in the oval and write my name in, Cynthia A. Johnson. That's the only way that I can continue my third term. Now, of course, my colleague is also going to is asking for your vote as well. But I believe that I'm the better choice for the people. I mean, if you don't vote for me, I can guarantee you this, that you will not be able to get, or you won't get the information that I've been giving you. You will, you'll get half truths.
Okay, so you've been. I remember when you started your journey into the political field. We have like a couple minutes left as our charger is still up. I'm sorry I pressed the record button just in case something was to happen. But everything is I see is right now it's on YouTube and different places. Before we close out, I think we've been over about 30 minutes. Anything else you'd like to say? Because the point was to inform people about the write-in and to be clear on how to do the write-in.
Okay. The ballot is easy. Okay. Typically you get your ballot and you just fill in the oval. You don't have to write in any names. I'm asking you, if you want me to continue working for you and to continue working for us, I ask you to get that ballot, fill in the oval, and write my name in, Cynthia A. Johnson. Now, do not write my name in on a ballot if you do not see Tyrone Carter or Jermaine Toby. Do not, because you will spoil that ballot. And if you think you've spoiled the ballot, ask for another one. When it comes to our seniors and people who can't write well, and there's going to be many of them, I'm asking you, if you know people in nursing homes or if you have family members who need help, please fill in that gap. Don't fill out the ballot for them, but you can assist them, especially a write-in. You can assist them. If they can't write the name in, but do not sign their ballot. They must sign their own ballot.
Okay. So we thank you so much for all the information, and now we cleared up everything.
I thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope that if I was confusing, I hope that you can go on Facebook. There are, just Google Cynthia A. Johnson. Check out all your the candidates. Don't just vote for people just to be voting for people, because, and another thing, everybody look like you is not for you.
Okay. So we thank you, Miss Cynthia A. Johnson, and I wish you the best in your journey and everything, and I hope that everything works out in your journey, what you wish for things to be. And now we have an understanding of 6 different situations that occurred. So we thank you so much. Thank you for giving us instructions on how to do the writing too.
Thank you.
We hope to talk again. We are going to say we love you and take care. Bye-bye.
This is Cynthia A. Johnson, State Representative for House District 5. I am an official write-in candidate for the new House District 1 in the state of Michigan. Join us as we discuss why I happen to be a write-in candidate as opposed to being on the ballot. You'll learn a whole lot. Please join us. Again, this is Cynthia A. Johnson for House District 1 write-in candidate. Join us.